Alright, hey guys, I'm here to show you my deck profile of Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion. Anyway, here. My starter is Fighting Draco Kid. If you don't know what he does, you move it to Soul, and you give your Vanguard the ability where if it's in Legion, if an opponent's rear guard in the front row is put in the drop zone, so either by like card effect or like if you attack it by battle, and it gets sent to the drop zone, you can counterblast 1 to retire the unit behind it. So you basically just kill the column for a counterblast 1. And it's really good with Crimson because you just thunderbolt the field. For my trigger lineup, I play 8 crit, 4 of these, and you want to run 4 of the Jins. It's just your Margot clone moved to Soul +3, and it really helps making 21k columns, and it also helps the Soul for Rising Phoenix. You run 4 draw triggers, all different ones of course, and then 4 heal triggers, all different just because you can now. For my grade 1s, you run 4 perfect guards. It does not matter what perfect guard you run. You can honestly run whatever perfect guard you want, but I just prefer these. I run 4 stride enablers, mainly because the Narukami strides are actually just really good, and I would just always want the option to stride. And also, you usually want to stride a couple times before you Legion with Crimson, because Crimson is a limit break 4, which is kind of slow sometimes. You run 3 limit break enablers because you do really want your limit break early, but you don't really want to run 4 because that's too much. And you run 2 Rising Phoenix because drawing cards is very important. For my grade 2 lineup, I run 4 Chitara. This came out in the new set. It's a grade 2 8k, but on the rear guard it becomes an 11, and it's able to, on hit, you can counterblast 1 and draw 1 and bind an opponent's rear guard. Well, bind a card from your opponent's drop zone, and it's really good because it just applies pressure and it just draws cards. I run 4 of this guy, Lise. If you're in Legion and a rear guard is put into the drop zone, it gets +3, so it's a pseudo 12k attacker, and also I run it because I do run shotgun blow as the mate. As the grade 3, I mean. And I run 2 of this. I don't really know how to pronounce the name, but it's on hit, counterblast 2 and draw 1. And I run 2 death sights. This is your basic berserk dragon, so counterblast 2 and kill a grade 2 or below. You don't really counterblast a lot with this deck, so that's why I run a lot of ways to counterblast. And so for the grade 3s, I play 3 Crimson, 2 of which are SP. One of them's mine, and one of them is Falling Winters. He's just letting me borrow it for the profile. But if you don't know what this guy does, this came out in the new set. It Legions with Vermilion, which this is an old school card. It came out in set 6. So you Legion, and then if you're in Legion, once per turn, you can choose your Legion mate, and his axe skill, the next time you were to play it, it's free. So you can just attack the front row every single turn. So your opponent's just really low on resources. And it also has another ability where you could Soul Blast 1 and give it +2. And that's useful sometimes. But I only play 3 of it because you don't really want to ride it first because it is a limit break, like I said. And my other grade 3s, I run 2 Vermilions. Now, one of which is SP. Now, if you don't know what this guy does, counterblast 3, and you can attack the whole front row with 1 attack. So your opponent can't intercept, and if they want to guard it, they have to guard each one separately. But normally they would just no guard. But Counterblast 3, that's really high, so you really just want to make it free every single turn. But you really only need the one copy. So I might just actually cut it down to 1 and run something else. I'm thinking maybe like a Descendant, and I'll just change all of my triggers to Eradicators. And for my last grade 3s, I play Shotgun Blow. This is a very good grade 3. When you Legion, you Counterblast 2, and your opponent retires 2 of their rear guards. And after that, if you have more units than your opponent, he gains a crit. So this does apply pressure. You could do this. You could easily do this turn 3 when your opponent's at 3 damage, so they could just, you're forcing them to guard, and it's just a really good card.
How hard are you trying not to laugh?
What are you guys doing?
Being stupid.
And then just as for my stride zones, I play 3 Zoras. This is your generic on-hit stride. So on hit, your opponent chooses one of their rear guards and retires it, and you bind 2 cards from their drop zone. Now it's really good. It's really anti-meta. You can get rid of G perfect guards. You can just get rid of triggers if you know your opponent's playing Legion. If your opponent's playing the X, you could just get rid of the Ns. And overall, it's just a really good card, and it just forces out a lot of pressure. I play the 1 Atmos, because like I said, you don't really Counterblast a lot in this deck.
You only use it at most once. You only use them at most once.
Oh, okay. If you didn't hear what he just said, he said you use it at most once. And I play 4.
I'm taking this card.
What?
I play 4 for this guy. This is really good. I underestimated how good this card was. Or if you don't know what it does, it's one of those G personas. So if you're at Generation Break 2, well, you have to flip over a copy, and if you're at Generation Break 2, you get an effect. But it's you choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the front row and retire it. And for each open rear guard circle in the opponent's front row, all of your units in the front row get plus 5,000 for each one. So usually when you stride into this, your opponent's just not going to have a front row. So just all of your units get plus 10. And it's really good because it combos well with this. It combos well with this. So this will be 19 by itself, and your opponent's not going to want to guard this because you're going to draw cards. And this, it's going to become a 21. And this just helps swing for really large numbers, and that's without triggers. But anyway, that's my deck profile.
If you grab your card that you left here,